Lorraine. I'm really nervous. I just kind of want to. Y'all, like, most people here are from Pittsburgh. Everybody's from Pittsburgh. Anybody from the North Side? North Sider? Okay. North behind you? You live on the North Side? I just want to orient myself. Like, okay, all right, cool. Family, right here. I'm a North Sider. My family comes from North Heights. And I'm just happy to be here. So I'm Lorraine. I'm a deaf doula. I only say that usually in professional settings or formal settings because when I say it around people that, when I say it around my people, they're like, what is that? It throws people off a bit. And I really don't mention it at all that I work with death, the dying, grieving. When I'm doing the work, it's just something that kind of comes naturally to me. What it looks like is me really pretty much holding space in a really intentional way. Sometimes that looks like cooking meals and just sitting and shut in whenever I hear about somebody on Facebook or through a church or community members. Sometimes it has in the past looked like respite for caregivers in my family personally. But a lot of times my death doula practice looks like listening. I do a lot of listening to grievers, to people who are actively dying, and to people, I listen a lot to people who are considering their own mortality. Like I said before, these are things that come naturally to me. It comes naturally to the women in my family. But I was formally trained through INELDA, International. I'm sorry, I can't say it right now. But INELDA is an organization that trains end-of-life doulas. And I finished my official training in 2021, at the end of 2021, November 2021 actually. And then December of 2021, my father got sick, went to the hospital, and died in February of 2022. So that started my real life training of being a death doula. I never got certified because, like I said, I was going through it personally. There were a succession of deaths that happened right after my father died. So I never did get the certification for being a death doula. But the good thing about that is it doesn't matter because being a death doula is an unregulated field. And I hate to say that it's even a field or a career because to me it's a calling and it's a ministry and it's a practice. And in my personal practice, one of my offerings is a grief support group. I run the grief support group virtually once a month, every first Tuesday. It's mostly millennial Black women who attend. And it's really just a safe space where we are able to talk about our grief and we check in with each other. Sometimes it gets really heavy. Sometimes we cry the entire time. Sometimes we are laughing the entire time and don't talk about grief at all. And very often we talk about health. And one of the subjects that come up very often in the group is perimenopause and menopause. And it comes up so much so that we are actually in the works of starting a new support group based on perimenopause and menopause because we are most of us that are in the group are of the age where we are beginning to have these conversations or well into that stage where we are having this conversation. So if you're interested in that, I will give more information about how to get in touch with you. So the grief groups are really profound to me for two reasons. One of which is because it is a place where I see that I've never seen before where women, people, anybody is invited, but mostly who shows up is Black women, young women, where we can normalize talking about grief in a really raw way. Like I said, people cry, people cuss. I have a couple people who's always rolling up whenever we were talking. There are people who are battling with a myriad of different issues, and it's just a really raw place that I've never really experienced. That it's okay to talk about the things that you've seen and experienced as it relates to death and grief. And the second thing that makes these grief groups so profound for me is the very genuine community that I have built around this group with these particular people. And the second point about building community is what I really want to offer to this group today as a point of consideration when it comes to self-care as opposed to grief. A lot of us experience feelings of extreme loneliness when it comes to loss. Maybe we feel abandoned because the people that we thought would be there were nowhere to be found. And to that, I just want to offer the consideration that those people who left probably needed to go because they couldn't hold you in that time that you needed. And they made space for your genuine community to step in. And maybe we experience loneliness because of self-isolation, because maybe being alone feels safer. But I also want to offer with that, just consider that the times when we have a lot of negative self-talk and a lot of rumination is usually whenever we are alone, and we don't have someone there to bring us out of it or to check those feelings, not even feelings, those beliefs, those negative beliefs. So I say that to say that we're not supposed to do this alone. We're not supposed to grieve alone. We're not supposed to go through these things alone, even though it does feel lonely. And we do need others to help us through our grief. But unfortunately, coming upon community is not always doesn't always come easily. We live very often far from our family and friends, and even far could just be across the city, and that bit of distance makes a big difference whenever it comes to things like preparing food, like sharing a meal with somebody that makes things a little easier, sharing childcare, things like that, things that help to really build a community can be really difficult because our community is not right there. But we still have to build it for ourselves. And not only are we tasked with building our own communities, you have to do it before you actually need it, so that they'll be there whenever you do need it. So it's something that we really need to be very intentional about. And I urge you today to think about who is it in your community that shows up for you, but not only that, but how can you also show up for others and build your community that way, because building community is give and take. It's an exchange. So as the holiday seasons approach, which comes another piece of grief, or another wave of grief, we have the holidays, we have just the winter blues, seasonal depression. Just consider making community care a part of your self-care. And that can look a lot of different ways. Like I said, I started my grief group personally because I needed support in my grief. I needed support in my grief. My father died and I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. So I went on Facebook and said, is anybody interested in talking about that? Is anybody interested in talking about grief? And a couple people said yes, and I said, okay, well, we're meeting this day. And that's how that happened. And from that, I started this grief group that's been going on about a little over 2 years. It's 2 years in June. And it's given me so much more than I could have even imagined. Again, I wanted to use my grief group as an example of how me being completely selfish, saying that I need grief, like I need support, I need help, created a community of, I don't know, maybe 30 people. They don't come every single time, but they're in and out, that see me and that care about me, and that are there whenever I need, at least once a month, and more sometimes whenever I need it too. But I want you guys to think also about the different ways that you can show up for a community, or you can build your own community. And my other example I've given this is in a way that my self-care has become community care, which can become self-care again, is I just learned how to grill. And so I've been grilling like every weekend, like literally. I grilled yesterday. And I usually, when I do try to grill, I try to like just clear out as much meat in my freezer as possible, because then I don't have to cook that much during the week. And so whenever I do, there's always a surplus of food, so I'm always inviting somebody over. Somebody always wants to come over. And then whenever they come over, they bring some more food. And they bring their children, and they bring their laughter, and they bring their good energy that carries me throughout the week into the next week, until the next time I grow again. And then because I host it, I also get the leftovers too. So like that's like an abundance of love, of nourishment, of food, of community, of just beauty, you know, that comes along with taking care of myself and then trying to find a way to reach out to other people. And it's so simple. Come over and get a plate, you know, come over and get a plate of food. That turns into community care, which then again goes back to me, self-care. So yeah, just continue, or I just want to urge you guys to think about how you can make community care a part of your self-care. It can look a lot of different ways. It can look like, it doesn't have to look like hosting a grief group. Not everybody wants to do something like that. But if it is something that you're interested in, please do it, because not everybody is going to relate to me. You know, like I can't be the facilitator for everyone. I'm not everybody's person. It could look like that. It could look like hosting a I don't know, some kind of get together. It could look like hosting a get together. It could look like volunteering. It could look like anything. Just be I don't know. It could look like anything. Okay, so yeah, in conclusion, I would like to thank you so much for creating this space and welcoming all of us to be part of your community. I related deeply whenever you brought up healing through helping, because I do believe that is why I was tasked with starting my grief group, because I get so much from what I do. So thank you so much for exploring, for being willing to be vulnerable with your very, very deep love for your mother. Because it's just so palpable, you know, how much you love your mother, and that deep loss only comes from really deep love. So thank you for sharing that with us, and for starting this, and for building a community that we all can be a part of. And thank you all for having me. I have, again, my name is Lorraine Laster. I have a few I have a few flyers if anyone is interested in the kind of work that I do. Like I said, I do grief groups. I also do virtual workshops around grief and different traditions and rituals that Black folks do that we don't even really pay attention to, but it's something that we do. It's extremely healing. We do balloon releases. We do making t-shirts. We do just getting together and thinking about a person and having a good time. We do, I have on so much of my family's jewelry right now. I have on my dad's necklace and my grandma's ring. But there's just so much that we do as Black folks that honors our ancestors, our loved ones, our lost ones, that we don't really put a name to realize that we do, but it's really beautiful and really profound. So I do workshops based on those things as well. A yoga teacher, we can breathe together and stretch together, if that is what you need as well. I find that very healing in my grief journey. And I'm just really grateful to be with you guys. If there's any way that I can work with you, or you're interested in working with me at all, or need to be connected to anyone else that does work similar to me, I'm a part of Pittsburgh Community Death Care, where it's a directory of other death workers in Pittsburgh, and we do a lot of things around the city. So thank you again for having me and for giving me some time to speak.